Yo guys, Visionist Gen here bringing you Marvel Rivals Best Competitive Team Part 8, where we're breaking down the best lineup to be using right now in competitive following the latest update. This lineup will consist of the newest hero in the game and the best meta heroes and lineup to be using as of right now. As usual, I'll explain how to use each of the 6 heroes in this video based on their roles, whilst also identifying what adjustments you'll want to consider, explaining when you'd make them and why. So on that note, let's get right into it. Now, as for the roster itself, I won't be going over a guide as such on all of their abilities, as I've made guides for most of these heroes separately on my channel, and for the most part, I'm assuming that anyone watching this video and learning about the best comp teams following the latest Season 2 update is already fully aware of most of the heroes in this game and their abilities. Now, in this video, I'll be explaining the best meta team to be using as of right now in Season 2, and we'll continue to combine meta and unique lineups going forward for the future episodes, which you can try out for yourselves, and hopefully you'll have as much fun as I've had using all of these heroes, and especially within these specific lineups. Now, of course, not all of these lineups will work in competitive, depending on your rank, as well as your own skill level. You should probably try some of these heroes or team comps out in a more casual environment first. But as for this lineup, as usual, we'll be starting with the tanks, and for this setup, we'll be using a 2-tank setup, starting with Emma Frost, the newly added hero in this game. We'll then be pairing her with Magneto and Psylocke due to the team up ability, but also with them being absolute meta and dominant right now in this current season, as well as Hela as the 4th hero, Loki and Luna as the 5th and 6th heroes, balancing the squad out with good healing, good range, and also good mobility. Now, Emma Frost as the starting tank, considering she's the newest addition to the game and completely dominating the matchmaking right now with her brawling and shielding capabilities, she's a great second tank or off tank in this new meta, who's capable at really slowing down the other brawling and diving style heroes with her diamond form, which I think is far too overpowered and needs balancing for sure. She absolutely disrupts heroes like the Thing. However, to be effective and dominant, she will need another tank or a primary tank alongside her. So coming in at number 2, as I mentioned, is Magneto, who is probably the number 1 Vanguard in the game right now. He excels at applying constant pressure with his primary attack and his mag cannon from range, whilst also being one of the best damage blockers in the entire game, using his shields to protect both himself and his teammates. His ultimate is one of the most clutch in removing strategists during their ultimates, and when timed right and with precision, removing strategists completely changes the game, and a main reason why he's actively used in competitive. Now, as well as this, Magneto also just pairs well with Emma Frost due to the combination of both range damage and the shields alongside Emma Frost brawling, and the team ability that she provides both Magneto and Psylocke. So, on that note, coming in at number 3 on this squad is the Telepathic Ninja, who shares the mental projection team ability, which, as I mentioned, is a newly added team up in Season 2 with Emma Frost, and really effective when the 3 of these heroes are paired together. Now, Sai is one of the best hybrid heroes in the entire game, an effective dive, ranged, and evasive hero who can apply some of the highest burst DPS in the entire game, and when played right as a 5-star difficulty hero, she could be a lethal duelist who's one of the most dominant right now in Season 2, an absolute meta duelist, and especially when paired with Emma and Magneto. And then backing her up as the 2nd duelist and the 4th hero in this team is no surprise that this team consists of Hela, the goddess of death, who's arguably the best duelist in the game right now, and at worst case, she's top 3. She's been top 3 for almost pretty much the entire time I've been playing this game since the start of Season 1. She's a really effective damage dealer. Utilizing the 2 shielding tanks on this squad, she can rely on good damage mitigation and being blocked, and therefore be responsible for dealing insanely amount of high damage output, picking off those squishy targets, and from that medium to long range, she's super effective at applying match pressure. She can deal a lot of damage whilst not being picked off, as she's well protected from the 2 tanks, and as well as the 2 supports in this lineup, which I think is why the 2-2-2 setup is my personal favourite and why it works really well. So coming in at number 5, and for the first strategist we'll be using in this lineup, is Loki, who's arguably the best strategist in the game right now, and like with Hela, worst case, he's top 3, but definitely an effective strategist in this current lineup. And with this team ability with Hela, the Ragnarok Rebirth ability, which allows Loki to stay well protected when Hela is free to apply constant damage and successfully eliminate players, as this team up basically provides Loki with additional health, 50 bonus health when Hela lands a final hit, but also if Loki dies and Hela lands a final hit, she can instantly resurrect Loki in the respawn phase, adding more of a clutch factor to this team, alongside Magneto's ultimate of course, and then further boost the team's survivability. And when paired alongside Luna Snow, who's also a top 3 strategist in this game right now following the latest Season 2 update in my opinion, and in this lineup, Luna will excel as majority of the team will typically be forward facing directly in front of Luna, where she's able to provide insanely high amounts of healing using her Ice Arts ability, which is crucial at providing self-healing for herself, applying healing to numerous teammates in funneled areas, in addition to the secondary healing ability Share the Stage, which is useful for the players like Loki as the 2nd support, or Psylocke as an isolation duelist, as well as dealing high amount of damage with the R1 ability in short bursts, capable at sniping aerial and flyers out of the sky such as Human Torch, who's also an S-tier duelist right now in this current meta, so this is a really effective support to have and the final hero to have in this lineup. Now, with a structured team, you will need to understand your team lineup and the strengths and weaknesses of your squad, so where you're vulnerable or what you're lacking, understanding your own counters, your own heroes counters, as well as the team ups and the meta currently, which as I mentioned is this squad. Now also communication is key, and reading between the lines, which will be based off your own experience as well as just the general map and also the general feel of these heroes. If you don't necessarily feel that your support or your tank is doing the right job in the game and you don't feel that this lineup's working, but also just based on who is banned. So for me, I would definitely consider banning the following heroes: Wolverine and Iron Fist, as the literal tank destroyers, definitely should be considered as being banned. They are also really meta currently as duelists in this game right now. Also dive heroes, the likes of Spider-Man, Magic, they definitely should be considered to be banned, as they're going to really cause problems for your supports, unless you have a really good Loki and you have someone that's well protecting them, such as Hela. But considering that you don't really have a counter dive hero on this squad, it would be good to consider banning those characters. Black Panther, not as great right now in this current meta, so I wouldn't consider banning him, but maybe he'll get buffed soon. Now, you don't need to ban characters like Namor as a counter dive hero, as Hela kind of counters or mitigates his actual impact as well. Plus, you don't really have any true dives on your squad anyway, and then also you don't need to ban any of the other team's flyers due to having Psylocke, Hela and Magneto, who can all deal with them, and of course Luna, as I mentioned as well. Now, as for the adjustments for all of these heroes, when you'd make them and why, here is the following. So as for Emma Frost, if the other team has a good Groot or a Wolverine, then I would then consider changing Emma Frost, if she's not working, to either Venom or for diving, or Captain America for his mobility, or even Hulk for better survivability instead of Emma due to her lack of mobility. And also, if they have a good Groot and Wolverine, she is easy to be isolated. Now, as for the second one, Magneto, ideally you want to keep him, but of course if Wolverine is really effective and really disrupting him, which is one of the best counters for Magneto, then I would consider changing to the likes of Penny for the counter dive aspect, but also the team ability with Venom, and also for Venom being on the squad adds good dive comp and changes the style of your dynamic and the entire system you're playing in, of course. Now, as for the third hero, for Psylocke, I would consider changing her to Wolverine instead, if he's not banned, and if Psylocke is just being isolated and not working, or she's being countered, and if the other team has less mobile tanks to disrupt pace and setup, Wolverine would be perfect for this. Or if not, and they're a grouped up system, then maybe consider changing to the likes of Moon Knight if they're all grouped up on the objective, because this is where he is really effective and thrives. I know for a fact that people are going to disagree with this because they all think he's a D or a C tier sort of duelist in this game right now, but I have used him in this system where you sort of have enemies all grouped up on the objective playing tight together, and this is where he is really effective and also chains together his ultimate really fast. And now also, as for Hela, if the other team has a dive comp or Squirrel Girl for splash damage, then and it's really bothering the likes of Hela and her setup, then I would consider changing to the likes of either Hawkeye for better mobility and also his one hit potential, or also you could change to Star-Lord if you lose Psylocke and you want the mobility in the squad and you need a final hit specialist and also the team ability with Warlock, then I would consider using Star-Lord. And therefore, as for the fifth adjustment, if Loki is not working, I would then change to Warlock, as I mentioned, for the team ability with Star-Lord, as Warlock can be a good choice if you have Star-Lord for the rebuff team ability, his sniper factor that he can add to the squad from his ranged attacks, and also the clutch factor he adds with his ultimate ability, which is really effective. But of course, this does have to be timed right and in skilled hands. I have been in games before, just like with Stranger's Portal, where players just use the ultimate for the sake of it, put you in a worse situation, and completely changes and ruins the entire game. Now, as for Luna, if the setup just isn't working, and you don't really have any teammates directly in front of you, and therefore you're less effective, change to either Cloak and Dagger for the Moon Knight team ability, and also as a good healer, plus the defensive ultimate ability that you want to maintain. And also you could consider changing to Mantis for the team ability with Warlock, also a good defensive ultimate ability, and also the great damage buffing capabilities using her actual abilities itself. Now, I appreciate that's a lot of heroes I've just gone over with all of the adjustments and also the initial squad itself. So as for the team abilities of all of the named heroes in this list, here is a quick summary of all of the potential link-ups to consider when you're forming your team, as team-ups are crucial to understand. So the first one is Emma Frost, Magneto and Psylocke, the newly added team-up, of course. The second one is Hela and Loki, really overpowered and really effective. The third one is the Venom and Penny once you make the adjustments. The fourth one is the Cloak and Dagger and Moon Knight. And the fifth one is the Adam Warlock and the Star-Lord and Mantis rebirth ability. So, in summary, this lineup and team structure initially has a great ranged and shielding setup, who will excel at grouping up, utilising the shields from both Emma and Magneto, with damage mitigation, relying on Psylocke for her evasive playstyle to disrupt the backlines and high burst DPS to pick off the likes of healers, alongside Hela's high constant DPS and final hit expertise, and then using Loki to apply healing pools in key areas for map pressure and placing in crucial moments to counter enemy ultimates, and also relying on Luna's channeled healing in grouped areas, which can allow this team comp to thrive and really be effective in this new meta. better. However, it's key to understand who you need to change to, when and why, which as I mentioned in this video, is going to be due to heavy dive comps who will disrupt your setup. Wolverine will be a real problem, so if he's not banned, be careful of him. And with the adjustments mentioned, you should be able to flexibly alter each hero where required and depending on whether your team is finding success off the break with this squad, or whether or not the other team is making adjustments to counter this lineup throughout. So just consider this throughout the entire game, and if you notice the other team has a dive comp, don't wait the entire game to make a change. Just make the changes as their squad will struggle versus, I can assure you. It is not a matter of ego and I'm better, it's just about making the right adjustments, and more often than not, at the higher ranks of competitive, that is what will win you games. It's not about maintaining the exact same setup from the start of the game, it's about finding ways to win games, and where areas are vulnerable or where individual heroes are going to struggle, to make those changes to benefit your entire team. And that also may have a knock-on effect to yourself. You may need to change to another hero to benefit your other player or your other teammate and your friend from changing as well. So just consider that. Now, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any alterations that you'd make to this lineup, let me know down below in the comments and let me know why. If you have any cool clips or tips you'd like to share, feel free to let us know down below in the comments and I'll get right back to you. I'm Vision SGN, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one.